Well, I've got a rather disturbing report to share with you guys today, and one that's really going to boil your blood about the Biden administration. Even if you voted for him, this should really tick you off. I'm talking about an executive order that the mainstream media ignored, by the way. They're all silent about this, but an executive order that I believe is one of his sickest executive orders to date, and specifically because of the reason that it goes after grandmas and grandpas in nursing homes. Now, some of his executive order sounds really good on the surface, and while it has some good parts to it, there's parts on this executive order that could very well, according to AHCA, or the American Healthcare Association, according to them, they believe that this executive order could cause a lot of closures of our nursing homes. And I can't wait to dive into it with you guys, but I'm really disturbed by this. And it was brought to my attention by a friend of mine who works in a nursing home. She's one of the lead people at a nursing home. And she's like, hey, if this thing hits, we're in a lot of trouble. And here's why. And she really outlined it for me. But before I get in, just a quick shout out to my sponsor, lowercarbswithlisa.com. If you guys are looking for something to provide you, with good energy, lower carb diet, a high in protein, then you're really going to want to check this out at lowercarbswithlisa.com. But it really helps curb your metabolism and gets rid of those bad food cravings. So this is absolutely a product that I would recommend to all of you. That is why I partnered with them. But right now you can get it for up to 51% off by going to the site. But check it out today and take advantage of that special offer. All right. So let's dive into what on earth is going on in our nursing homes. Well, let's start with an executive order that was published early on last year on Biden's website. Again, media has been silent on this. That's why a lot of us haven't heard about it. But here it is, fact sheet. And it was published February 28th, 2022, protecting seniors by improving safety and quality of care in the nation's nursing homes. And they start this thing off with all people deserve to be treated with dignity and respect and have access to quality medical care. Of course, we all agree with that. There's nobody who doesn't want that for our elderly. We all want them treated with dignity, respect, and to have good health care. However, this executive order has some very questionable things that we need to look at. And to give credit where credit's due, there are some good things in these executive orders, and there are also some bad things in the executive order that I think you should be aware of, right? But let's go back to that executive order. I'm going to scroll down to the section here where it says, ensuring taxpayer dollars support nursing homes that provide safe, adequate, and dignified care. And it goes on to state that CMS, and in case you don't know who CMS is the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. But they are launching 4 new initiatives to ensure that residents get quality care that they need and the taxpayers pay for it. That's you and I. So here's what they're going to do. And this is the big issue right here in this executive order. They are going to establish a minimum nursing home staffing requirement. Now, bear with me as I read through this because I'm going to tell you the reason why in a little bit. But it says, the adequacy of a nursing home staffing is the measure most closely linked to the quality of care residents receive. For example, a study, one of the state's nursing facilities found that increasing registered nursing staff by just 20 minutes per resident day was associated with 22% fewer confirmed cases of COVID-19 and 26% fewer COVID deaths. That sounds very, very good on the surface, right? This is what a study revealed. So as a result, CMS intends to propose minimum standards for staffing adequacy that nursing homes must meet. CMS is going to conduct a research study to determine the level and type of staffing that they need, right? But they go on to conclude that any nursing homes that don't do this or don't follow the new rule, for example, will be held accountable if they fail to meet the standard. Now, fast forward to this next executive order, and this is an executive order refurbished, redone, if you will, October 21st, later on in the year for 2022, just a couple months ago. And it's Biden-Harris administration announces new steps to improve quality of nursing home. Again, there are some good things in here, along with some questionable things and things that the American Healthcare Association actually is really worried about. Okay. But here it is. Some of the things that I guess you could call good in this executive order is that they are going to provide funds or pathway to funds for these nursing homes, right? And they're doing it in the form of, well, you can apply for an $80 million grant this way. And HHS also has a $13 million grant and other grants that you can apply for. The problem is, however, when I discussed with my friend who works in a nursing home and is one of the leading officials there, the problem is because of what happened during COVID-19, a huge chunk of the nursing homes cannot apply because they're not qualified or meeting the criterias regarding with what happened in COVID-19. So the money is kind of inaccessible for a lot of our healthcare facilities. What's the good in that? So we have right now underfunded nursing homes. They are underfunded. Let's just be frank. I think this is something both sides agree on. And now they're going to add a requirement to staffing, which, as you're going to see in a moment, they're having trouble finding qualified staff and staff that wants to stick around as it is. So if you can't get enough staff right now and you're going to raise the requirements, how are you going to get more staff? Good question. And this is one of the problems. But back to that executive order, I'm jumping a little bit here. It scrolls down, and here is their established minimum, and they reiterate this, and they said CMS officially launched their public input process, and they're going to inform us on all this in the spring of 2023. And here is the CMS, a Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services staffing study to inform minimum staffing requirements for nursing homes. So here is where they announced President Biden's comprehensive set of reforms via his EO there, and they asked for people to put in their opinions and all of that, and so they gathered all of the information. All right, so there's kind of the overall agenda. Now let's get to the problem. What is wrong with this executive order, and why is AHCA not too happy about it, right? Take a look here. In case, again, you don't know who AHCA is, it's the American Healthcare Association. And just so you get the size of this association, this is their website here, by the way. It says the American Healthcare Association and the National Center for Assisted Living is the largest association in the U.S. representing long-term and post-acute care providers with more than 14,000 member facilities. So this is a very large organization. Well, here's a letter that they put out kind of warning everyone about this particular executive order. And I'm going to take you straight to the source. This is directly from their website, and its headline: Unfunded minimum staffing requirements for skilled nursing facilities, SNFs, could cause seniors to lose access to vital care. Nursing homes are currently grappling with a historic labor crisis. Since the beginning of the pandemic, nursing homes have lost more than 220,000 caregivers, or more than 14% of its workforce. This job loss is worse than any other healthcare sector, and the workforce levels are now at nearly a 30-year low. Staffing challenges in long-term care existed prior to COVID-19, and the pandemic exacerbated them into a full-blown crisis. There's a crisis, right? Caregivers are burnt out after fighting the virus for more than 2 years, and nursing homes lack the resources to compete for workers due to chronic government underfunding. So right off the bat, we have a problem with these healthcare facilities. They don't have enough funding, which I've expressed already, and caregivers are getting burned out. They don't have enough staff. They keep trying to hire staff, but it's not out there. On top of that, they put all these mandates and measures in on these nursing homes, particularly these vaccine mandates that caused a lot of them to leave. Just a side note there, but it goes on. As a result of these staffing shortages, vulnerable seniors now have fewer longer-term care options. More than 6 in 10 nursing homes are limiting new admissions, and nearly 3/4 are concerned their facility may have to close due to staffing crisis, right? More than 300 nursing homes have closed over the course of the pandemic, many due to staffing shortages, and another 400 may soon close. The domino effect on seniors seniors, their families, and our entire healthcare system is troubling. Seniors wait for days or weeks in hospital for a space at that facility, and families are having to travel further just to visit their loved ones in these long-term facilities. Nursing homes would love to hire more nurses and nursing aides, but we are currently grappling with a historic labor crisis, and the people are not there. And here's the key point: increasing staffing requirements at a time when we cannot find the people to fill open positions is a dangerous policy. Nearly every nursing home in the country is having trouble hiring staff due to lack of interest or qualified candidates. Providers have dedicated every possible resource to recruit and retain caregivers, including increasing wages, offering bonuses, but nursing homes are chronically underfunded by Medicaid, and currently soaring labor costs are unsustainable. And as a kicker here, a federal staffing minimum requires a significant ongoing investment in our frontline caregivers. An analysis found that a staffing minimum of 4.1 hours per day, resident day, would require $11.3 billion to hire more than 191,000 additional nurses and nurses aides. These proposals need to be fully funded, and with proper resources, nursing homes can offer frontline caregivers more competitive wages and benefits, right? Increasing staffing minimums would make it harder for seniors to find the long-term care that they need. And ultimately, this is a very key point here, nursing homes will have to continue to reduce the number of patients they can serve in order to meet these ratios, or they're going to end up closing entirely. Nearly 450,000 residents, about 1/3, may be at risk of displacement, according to the analysis on staffing ratios. That's massive and shouldn't be ignored. Let me put this in a nutshell, and I'm going to reference my notes here, but to kind of put it all out there, the government is forcing these skilled nursing home facilities to hire about 191,000 more people. Well, that's going to cost about $11.3 billion, money that these nursing homes, well, they just don't have it because they're underfunded by our United States government. Yes, they're offering these pretty little grants, but many of these nursing homes can't get their hands on it because, well, they don't particularly qualify for fill-in-the-blank reasons. All right. So as it sits right now, before this mandate even goes through, right, as of now, these skilled nursing home facilities are having trouble finding people. They're saying, hey, we're trying to hire, we're offering bonuses, we're, increasing pay, but there just isn't a workforce out there. There's people who are not qualified. There's people who, quit due to stress on the job. We don't have the funding to hire new people. And so, we're not having enough health care for these elderly because of that reason. So therefore, if this mandate goes through, our United States government is then going to force these facilities to use $11.3 billion towards funding new staff that doesn't exist. It's just not there, meaning money that was intended for the elderly is now being forced to go to new staff. So what's going to happen as a result, right? Well, that's going to cause these nursing homes to have to reduce the number of patients that they can serve in order to meet the staff to person ratio. So they're going to start kicking out these grandmas and grandpas from the nursing home because they said, we're forced to meet this requirement. We can't meet this requirement because, it doesn't exist on the workforce. So bye, grandma and grandpa, you're kicked out so we can meet our requirement that we actually don't even have the funding to meet. Cue potential closures, and lots of closures of our nursing home facilities. This is some sick stuff. And I don't know why this isn't one of the biggest viral stories of our time. In fact, the American Healthcare Association president spoke out about this, and I found this in an article that's just kind of been hidden by NPR. Nursing home residents suffer from staffing shortages, but the jobs are hard to fill. And if you scroll down there to about the bottom, here's his quote, and this is by Mark Parkinson. He is the president there of the AHC Association. Here's what he said. If they had a minimum staffing requirement that if you're unable to meet it, you could not operate, that would close every building in the country. Grandma got ran over by the Bidens walking home from our house Christmas Eve. I mean, really. Are you trying to step on our grandparents? Are you trying to step on us when we get of age? It sure feels that way. It certainly does. And like I said, good stuff, and you always have a little bit of bad, but these new things that CMS.gov, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services are forcing on these nursing homes through Biden's EO. You gotta question some of these practices. Maybe you disagree. I don't know. But all I know is I have friends in the industry and they're actually worried about it. But with that, please don't forget to check out restrictiverepublic.com. I've got some amazing reports that I just published out there. And like I said, we're people funded, not billionaire funded, not funded by big corporations, activists, anything. We're funded by you. We deliver the news that you want. Please support us there. Go to restrictiverepublic.com. Use the coupon code TRUMP to get it for $5 per month for that entire first year. Anyhow, I love all you guys. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts. Please leave them below. And thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.